Hello everyone, welcome back to the Kia Hyundai channel. My name's Gabi.
I'm Michael.
And today we're doing a full walkthrough of everything you need to know about the 2025 Kia Sorento in the EX trim level. So the Kia Sorento was redesigned, or I should say refreshed, for the 2024 model year. It came with a ton of new features, some things we've never seen before but we've been asking for forever, like wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But the EX trim holds a bit of a special place in my heart and the hearts of many of our consumers. It's $5,000 more than the entry trim level, but it's only one step up. Sorry, $4,000 more, but it's only one step up. So today I'm going to talk about the differences, and I want you to let me know if you think it's worth it. We're also, again, going to do a full walkthrough so you know everything there is to know about this specific trim and the Kia Sorento. Also, Mike is a fairly new face on the channel. I don't have Charlotte here today. I miss her dearly. But Michael, you're great, right? We'll do a good job. All right, let's get into it, starting off with the exterior. So the price of this specific model is $45,780 Canadian, making the entry trim level $41,780. I'll have all of the technical specs linked in the description, but don't worry, I will still talk about everything too. So this is the EX model, like I said. It's showcased in ebony black, so it's going to be a little bit hard to see some of the specialized black accents, but I'll try my best to point them out. We'll first take a look at the front grille, which has a beautiful gloss black finish to it and is cased in a beautiful, beautiful satin chrome. This definitely makes the front end of this vehicle stand out, and since it's changed for the 2024 model year, I think the Sorento in general just has a much bolder look to it. It has brand new headlights and distinct daytime running lights in this beautiful amber shade. For your main headlight unit, you can expect to see LEDs on every single trim level, and that includes your projector lights, your positioning lights, and your main headlight unit. Another great thing about this vehicle, which again is part of the lights but is also a fantastic safety feature, is the automatic high beams. So if you live somewhere like a rural area where you do frequently use your high beams, this vehicle is smart enough to shut them off when it senses another car or sufficient ambient lighting. So a nice little feature to have. A lot of people don't really notice the comfort of it until it's gone. So you get that on all trim levels here. Another thing you're going to get are integrated front parking sensors, so a little hard to see because of the blacked out finish on that front bumper, but a great function to have. That's essentially going to beep inside the cabin to let you know when you're getting too close to, let's say, another vehicle or something like the wall. And while this vehicle is definitely a bigger SUV, it's not too big where it's hard to park, but features like this just make things a little bit better and a little bit easier. Along the bottom, you have a beautiful, again, silver painted, almost chrome style skid plate. And right over here, a front radar sensor for your smart cruise control and your forward collision avoidance. Forward collision avoidance is essentially going to monitor what's happening with the car ahead of you. It's going to let you know if you're getting too close with an audible warning in the cabin, but the vehicle can take corrective action and apply the brakes if it deems an accident may occur. That's also going to work with cyclists and pedestrians. All right, we'll now pop the hood and talk about powertrain. So on the EX model, you actually get an introduction to our turbocharged 4-cylinder. And let me tell you guys, it may not sound like a huge difference hearing the word turbo and 4-cylinder and equating power to that. But this vehicle, as opposed to the LX below it, it's a big difference on the road. So this 2.5 liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder is going to combine both gasoline direct injection and multi-point injection. You're going to get a total of 281 horsepower with 311 pound-feet of torque, and oh my goodness, let me tell you, the difference is night and day. You may also equate power with poor fuel efficiency, and I will say, while this isn't a hybrid, it's obviously not going to get those crazy low numbers, but it's rated at 10.6 liters per 100 kilometers. Actually, I believe it's 10.3 combined, so highway and city, and that is not too much more than the Kia Sportage, which is a size class below it and utilizes a non-turbocharged engine with much less power. So you'll get more power and fairly similar efficiency and more seats in this car. The Sorento is by far one of my favorite vehicles to drive, and I wouldn't necessarily equate myself, someone who doesn't have a family, doesn't have kids, with an SUV as one of my favorite cars to drive, but this vehicle is a ton of fun. All right, no more personal stuff. Let's talk about the transmission on this car. It's an 8-speed dual clutch transmission, so again, 2 clutches but only 2 pedals. So don't worry, there's no physical clutch pedal. It's still going to operate like a traditional automatic in the sense that you put it in drive and go. If you want to know more about dual clutches, I will link our video in the description. All right, so we got engine transmission out of the way. Let's talk about wheels and our drivetrain. Starting off with the wheel design on this vehicle, you'd get a huge difference compared to the LX below it. This is going to be a 20-inch machine finished alloy as opposed to the 17-inch kind of basic wheels that we get on the LX. This looks absolutely stunning. I love this design of it, and then you get an all-season tire mounted on top. Speaking of all season, let's translate to all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive is standard on the Kia Sorento here in Canada, and you do get specialized terrain modes, so snow, mud, and sand. The vehicle will operate in a front-wheel drive bias, meaning that on a beautiful sunny day like today, if I'm driving on regular pavement, my car is going to be front-wheel drive. However, if I'm launching it from a standstill, which again, I don't recommend drag racing or anything with this vehicle, but it will incorporate some power from the rear wheels. This is also true if you turn onto a gravel road or a muddy road. The car will adjust its torque split as needed to give you optimal traction without having to think about anything. So it's a smart car. But it is nice to have the terrain modes as options if you just want to cycle into it if you know you're going to be driving somewhere that's sandy, muddy, or snowy. Another thing you're going to get is a little bit of plastic garnishing around your wheel wells. Very nice for Canadian weather, especially on a black paint like this. It doesn't stand out too much. It doesn't look corny or anything. And it's not overly done like some vehicles with that big plastic cladding all over the body. This again is good when you're taking snow and ice out of your wheel wells because you're not going to be scratching your paint or eating away at that. So we like to see that there. There's a little bit more chrome and silver, so you get the almost matte finish on the bottom with some shine up top, just on your fender flare. And then for your mirrors, it's going to be all black on this exterior paint color with an LED turn signal indicator. Coming around to your windows, they're finished with gloss black pillars and then some more chrome surrounding. And then our final pieces of chrome elements, we have our almost flush style roof rails and then along our rear window as well too. This definitely breaks up the look of this vehicle. It looks great on all of our exterior paints, but I would say it's almost necessary on a black finish just so the vehicle doesn't look completely, blacked out. However, some window tint will give you a little bit more of that dark look if you do like that. All right, coming along to the back. This hasn't changed much from the previous generation Kia Sorento. If you've watched our videos for a while, you know there's only one big change. It's the taillight. It's connected now. They used to be separate. But everything else is largely the same and has a beautiful, simple, yet sporty styling. I've always liked how the Sorento, it's not overly styled, but it just looks good. You do get rear parking sensors, so those are going to be mounted on your rear bumper. And then a little bit more of that nice chrome finish along the bottom. Another thing that makes the EX very special, it's going to be your introductory trim to not only that turbocharged powertrain, so more power and a little more fun, it also gives you a lot of creature comforts. So starting off with the power liftgate. You can adjust the height of this to whatever you like best. This is the max height. However, if you want to move it, you'll just pull it down, press and hold the liftgate button, and that'll save it to your preset height. And of course, you get the 6-seater passenger configuration. So if you want 7, you have to get the LX model. However, if you like captain's chairs, this is the trim for you, or above if you want a little bit more bells and whistles. But let me tell you, these seats over here, when they're up, it may not look like much in the storage compartment. However, we still have a lot of usable space. We'll knock them down. Very easy to do so, and you do have Velcro attached to the tethers, so you don't have to lose them, provided you actually put them back in the right place. Me, not so much. Sometimes I just fling it there, and then I have nothing to grab. However, you can see with the third row folded down, there is a lot of usable space, and I can still comfortably seat 5 passengers just by folding one side down. If you're only transporting 4 and cargo space is a must for you, this is what you'd be looking at. So that is with all our seats down, very similar to the cargo capacity of something like the Kia Sportage, which is a traditional 5-seater. So this is a slight, downside of this vehicle. If you do need to take 5 people, you obviously have to sacrifice some of the cargo room back here by bringing up one of these seats. If not, there's so much usable room. This is a good opportunity to show what amenities we have back here. So we do have these little clips, where is it? Right over here for a cargo net. You also have hooks on the bottom to attach anything else like a cargo net too. And then there are indents on the side for something like a cargo cover. You'll also see we have USB-Cs, one on each side for left and right. There's cup holders, storage compartments, and this little button here to knock down our second row seats. So you have 2 buttons, one for the left, one for the right. So you can fold them down individually or both at the same time. And you also have a 12-volt inverter for any sort of small appliances that you might need to power. It's great for inflator kits, and if you're curious about a spare tire, this vehicle most certainly does have one. It's not located under the floorboard like most of our vehicles, however the kit is. The tire itself is mounted underneath the vehicle, which Michael, if you're feeling brave, you can definitely show it. You see it? Maybe?
Yes.
All right, while we're down here, let's talk exhaust. So it's a single tip exhaust right down here, so it's downwards facing. Not overly noticeable. I mean, it's not something you really see from the back, but it's there. It's definitely not an EV. All right, one more thing I want to talk about while we're on the exterior is going to be the fuel. So the fuel door is on the driver's side. It's one of the push style ones, so as long as the car is unlocked, you just give it a push and it opens for you. 67-liter tank, so not overly huge to fill up. It's not overly costly. And like I mentioned earlier, the consumption is about 10.3 liters per 100 kilometers combined. Now, when it comes to consumption, Kia rates their vehicles pretty conservatively, so you can see it do a lot better depending on how you drive, or alternatively, if you have a heavy foot, you could see it do a little bit worse. There are specialized drive modes inside the vehicle, so just like the terrain modes I mentioned earlier, that allow you to put your vehicle into sport mode or eco mode, whatever you prefer best, and that does help with fuel consumption. Sport mode doesn't help, but eco does. All right, and then as we work our way back to the driver's area, I just want to highlight the door handle. So it's a little hard to see because everything's all black, but we do have a button, and that's for your proximity entry. So as long as I've got the key on me, I can press that to lock or unlock my vehicle, and I can hop in without ever touching my keys. It gets even better because it is a push to start, so you can truly have a keyless experience. However, you may want to touch your keys every once in a while because you do have integrated remote start on them, or you can start your vehicle from your phone with Kia Connect. So lots of different ways to make this vehicle even more comfortable and convenient. Before I hop in, let's talk about the door. So it is a little dirty, don't mind that, but we do have a nice blend of materials. So there is some soft touch leatherette here, some nice plastic, it feels very premium, and then some silver piping along too, just to blend in those mixed materials that we see also on the outside. Your door handles, there's nothing much going on crazy over there, and you get this cool design on your door panel. All right, before I hop in, I'll just have Michael quickly show the door sills. So you do have Sorento emblems on them. See if it'll focus. There we go. And then we do have a powered driver's seat, which I will demonstrate. So for the power seat, it actually starts on the LX, but you do get the leatherette finish on the EX. You can adjust the bottom, you get the tilt option, and of course you can raise it or lower it, bring it closer or further from the steering wheel. Your backrest and lumbar support, so you can truly find the perfect spot with your seat. Both of the main seats up here are going to be heated with 3 different levels, and you also have a double heated steering wheel. And by double heated steering wheel, I don't mean that there's another one that's also heated. There's 2 different levels of heat, so burning hot and regular hot, and it heats the entire wheel. So not just certain touch points that you have to relearn how to drive just to get warm hands. It's very, very comfortable. I love a leather wrapped heated steering wheel. On the left side, you also get some convenience features. So this is going to be your voice commands, your volume, and then your phone. You also have the option to program a favorites button. So if you find there's a specific station or media mode that you frequent often, or some specific function in your car that you always find yourself going to, you can make that just a shortcut to get to there, so you don't have to cycle through screens or dig through any different menus to find what you're looking for. All right, Michael, do you want to join me on the passenger side?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and Michael, what do you think? I know before we started this video that you, well, keep going. Yeah, you can join me over here. Before we started this video, Michael said, this is one up from the base model. And he was kind of surprised that it had captain's chairs and some of the features that it does. And well, I don't know, do you think it's worth a $4,000 difference?
Well, I think so. Well, it's just that I'm surprised because I think I might put an order one for next year. Yeah. Just because of how impressive it is, and you know, like the screen.
The screen's nice.
Just imagine, it's like this is one up from the LX.
Yes.
And you're getting the full screen. You get.
Well, the screen is actually the same as the LX, so I'm kind of talking down the LX right now, but.
But like Kia Connect, like that one is a must for me.
Yeah.
Just because if like you're at the mall or if you're just getting ready to leave for work, you don't have to wait for the car to, like, you know,
to cool down or
heat, right? So
exactly. It's nice functions to have for sure. I always feel a little bit spoiled because I got them in my previous vehicle and now I feel like I can't live without them. But they truly make your ownership experience far better. Speaking of the screens, like Michael said, so this is brand new software for Kia. It's a 12.3-inch multimedia interface, which sounds like a lot of verbiage that most people don't understand. But guys, this software, it is way easier to use than last year, and usually that doesn't go hand in hand. We get new tech and it's just something you have to relearn. This is so much easier. The icons are big, so they're easy to navigate. If you're a driver, you know how to get to your phone. And even if you don't want to, use your voice commands. They've never been smarter. So seriously, there's so much you can do just by utilizing the voice commands or the screen itself, and everything is so simple. Now, another big thing that's been added since its refresh last year, we now have wireless phone projection. So Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, completely wireless experience, and it's so smooth. We don't get navigation on this trim built in, but if you are using your phone and you use Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze, it'll all be up there and so quick. Another thing you get is, of course, your phone, so Bluetooth. Media, you have Sirius XM, AM, FM, and you have a complete customization of all of your safety functions on your vehicle under the vehicle menu. So you can go to driver assistance here and play around and tweak your car completely, and do not worry, this will not mess up anything. Everything can be changed and you can save it to your specific driver profile if you are sharing this vehicle with someone else. I think earlier on I mentioned that this car had smart cruise control, but I didn't really talk about it. So this vehicle will essentially use that forward collision sensor to monitor how close you are to the vehicle in the event of, perhaps a collision, but also for just regular driving. If you turn on your cruise control, it'll make sure you're always at a safe distance, and you can preset just how close or how far you want to follow. But you can take it a step further and also change how quickly the acceleration timing is, the reaction speed, or you can leave it at default. So it's not just the following distance you can change. This vehicle, again, all of these safety functions, they sound like a lot, but you get used to them and they are very user-friendly. So I'll stop talking about that screen there and start talking about the climate, or the infotainment cluster. sorry, Michael. So this cluster over here, it's not fully digitized, although it does look like it. This is the only section that you can really play around with as a driver, but you can change the color of these themes over here. So this is, of course, going to be your digital speedometer, and you also have a digital tachometer right there. In the center screen, you can see that the hood is up, the vehicle has 617 kilometers of range, and it's in smart mode. If I want to change the view that's being shown, I can press this button here and cycle for a trip, our lane assist, power distribution, so that's going to be your all-wheel drive, and things, again, so you can cycle down and there's even more options. So it's very easily customizable. And then over here, you have a couple of other buttons. This will be the button to turn on your cruise control. You'll set your speed with the plus and minus, and then set your following distance right over here. And then this over here is going to turn on your lane follow assist. Lane following assist essentially uses the camera that's located in the windshield to watch what's happening on the lanes ahead of you and will guide the vehicle as needed. So it's not going to make a full left or right turn. That's up to you as a driver, but it'll gently guide you to make sure you're set straight in the road, and it'll monitor what's happening on the car ahead of you too. So very smart car indeed. A couple other things over here. So the EX model is going to be your introductory trim to dual climate control. So I can have my temperature set to whatever I'd like, and Michael can have his the same or separate. You can also sync them up with the touch of a button. Let's turn that off for now though. Very easy to configure your climate. This is a screen, but it does have haptic feedback. So when you do make a change, you will get an audible alert. And it's very easy to use, even though it's a screen. And I know a lot of people seem to hate screens now. It used to be the big thing. Now it's apparently not. We also have quick access to some of your infotainment controls. So I can go to my home screen just by pressing here. Same thing with my map, which would have to be linked with your phone. There's also a search function, so this is great because if you are getting a new car and you haven't bought something this techy in a while, this is how you'll find things in your menu. So if it's date and time, I can search that up and it'll tell me software info update. I didn't even finish, but date and time right over there. So it's very easy to find things without having to, Google it, because you can just Google it through your car, almost, without using Google. And down here we have some convenience, like charging. We have a USB-C right over there that can do data transfer and charging, or just straight up charging. There's also another one to the right, and a wireless phone charger that starts on this trim level. The wireless phone charger, I like how it's kind of hidden from any of the window access, so it's not going to get as hot as some of the ones that are placed kind of, more so right in the very center of your car that get really hot on a hot day. You have your heated seats right over here for driver and passenger. A traditional gear shift, so a nice gear lever. That's of course going to be tied to your 8-speed dual clutch. And while this specific trim level does not have paddle shifters, you can still manually change your gears if you'd like to by tipping it over to the left while in drive, then upshifting or downshifting. So you can still have some fun with this car. We have our drive and terrain mode select here, so it's operated by a dial. You'll see it illuminate in amber based off what mode you're in. So right now we're in eco, but there's also a sport, smart, and normal mode. This is also going to change what's happening on your cluster. So right up here, you can see normal, eco, sport, and smart again. And that's not just going to change what's happening up there. Sorry, the quality. We'll try to get it to focus while I show again. There we go. Smart, sport, eco, normal. So that's not just going to change what your screen looks like, it's actually going to change everything about your vehicle. So it'll change the throttle response, I should say sensitivity, but also response. It'll change your steering feel. For your all-wheel drive modes, so your terrain modes, it'll change your electronic stability control, again, your engine response, just to tune your vehicle to those conditions or that style of driving. Here's your heated seat or heated steering wheel button, your auto hold braking, downhill brake assist, an electronic parking brake, park view camera, your sensors, so if you'd like to shut them off, and idle stop and go. I'll open up the center console to show you your space real quick. So you get 2 levels, or you can take this out completely and just use all the space that's there. It's a very, very deep center console, so lots of cargo room in the center. And then I'll have Michael show the glove box. Michael, you get the exciting part. Very nice. It's illuminated.
Yes, it is.
How illuminating.
If you want information about the vehicle, either watch our YouTube channel or you can go through the book.
Emphasis on the YouTube channel. All right, a couple more things I want to point out. This is just styling wise. I do like the layout of this vehicle. The vents are very slim, but they're still very effective. Easy to configure, nice hazard button right over there, and you get that beautiful metal finish all the way across, extending to your very, very far vents again. It blends in perfectly with that panel we have on the door. So the mix of metals with the plush materials like the leatherette, I don't know, I think it just has a great blend of urban and modern, but also just classic. It's a classic vehicle for sure. One thing I'll show again is going to be your camera. So the camera is located just on the back. It's a rear view, but you still have the front and rear sensors. Very, very clear, and you can change the view to have a more so kind of tow hitch camera. If you are planning on towing with this vehicle, it's rated for 2,000 pounds on this specific trim level, but the Kia Sorento can go all the way up to 3,500 pounds. So pretty capable, actually very, very capable. You can get the X Pro on the Sorento, which is our top trim level, and that actually brings it to 4,500 pounds. So big difference there. All right, let's take a look at the second row seats, which again are captain's chairs, and captain's chairs are a big deal because they only start on this trim. My favorite thing about captain's chairs is how easy they are to maneuver. So if you do frequently have passengers in the second or third row, it makes getting into the third row very, very simple. All you have to do is press the button on the shoulder area of the seat. So I'll have Michael put it back in its upright position and then show how it folds down. So button on the very top shoulder. It'll allow the vehicle to slide on its rail and fold forwards, making it very easy to get into the third row. If you're not using the third row though, and you're just hopping in the captain's chairs, you'll really appreciate how much space you have. And the best part is it's all your space. You're not sharing with anybody in the middle. You also get armrests that you can configure the height to. So that way, if you are sitting in your captain's chairs with the seats reclined, your armrests are still in a perfect position all the time. All right, let's bring that back down. While I'm very comfortable in these chairs, there's still a lot to do back here. So you do have pockets on the back of the driver and passenger seats. You get a mesh net pocket and a leather pocket. Vents. And the best part about these vents is even though there's nothing going on in the third row for ventilation, I guess, they do go all the way to the back because again, there's no seat in the middle here. It has direct channeling to the back of the vehicle. So even your passengers there will enjoy the heat or cooled air depending on the season. Our lights just went off outside, so hopefully you guys can still see what I'm talking about, but let's keep rolling. All right, the backs of the seats are also gonna have this USB-C port, and that's gonna be repeated on the passenger side. And you may be wondering, but where are my cup holders? If there's no seat in this middle, then there's also no armrest cup holder situation. The cup holders are gonna be mounted onto the doors right by your window switch. You also have a bottle holder along the bottom, your speakers, and some nice materials like that metal finish, and a little bit of soft touch leatherette on the door as well too if you'd like to rest your arm on there. It wouldn't be a Kia Hyundai channel review without talking about the back seat and showing it. So we're gonna do that, even though it might be a little bit too dark outside to actually see what's happening. Michael, do you think you could walk over there and turn the light on? And I'll talk back over here. All right, Michael's gonna trigger the motion sensor lights. And I'll again show cup holders, storage, USB-Cs, and this is all for the third row. You also have these handy seatbelt clips, so if you aren't transporting any passengers back here, you can tuck everything to the side and really utilize all the space without any of your cargo getting hooked on them. All right, now back here. it may not look like much, and it's definitely going to look very dark and confined based off of our lighting, but the seats themselves are extremely wide. They didn't try to cram 3 seats back here. They're 2 separate seats. So I'm not on this other seat here. I have all my amenities, and there is a really good amount of headroom. So I've got about this much to be exact. And I've recently learned that I have a very long torso compared to other people. I used to think I have long legs. It's a long torso. So I think I do sit more upright than others. And yeah, that's a very, very good amount of headroom. Lots of width, like I said earlier. The only thing or complaint I have about the Kia Sorento, and there's nothing they can really do about this, is the leg situation. So because we're more so based on the rear portion of the drivetrain, where there is, you know, wheels, axles, kind of in a hunched position. And this isn't necessarily uncomfortable for me, but it is something that might not suit a very, very tall passenger. So definitely don't put your tallest people back here. If you're a kid or, you know, just a shorter person, this is totally doable for a longer road trip. You just might want to get out and stretch your legs every once in a while. But you should be doing that on any road trip anyway. All right, that's probably it for the Kia Sorento for interior and exterior. I do want to answer some questions and see what you guys have to say about the vehicle. So me and Michael will hop in and answer some questions, Q&A. Are you excited, Mike? Yeah. All right, I'll grab the camera. Do you mind grabbing the... Thank you. All right. And we'll switch this. Oh. Okay. Yay.
You get to sit in the back.
This is usually our go-to for answering questions now. We just kind of sit in the back. It's way easier.
Yeah, and when I'm trying to hide from somebody, I just go in one of these cars.
All right. Mr. Bourne said every vehicle should have ports for connectivity. Absolutely. So should we do a little USB-C count? So this is just USB-C. It's not including wireless phone charger. There's 2 back here in the second row, 2 in the third row, and then there's 2 up front. So we've got 6. But 6 seats. Everyone gets a charger.
Exactly.
And there's also a wireless one too. All right. I don't see a lot of questions. Someone said, saw this on the road the other day, looks nice with tinted windows. Yes, I do think tinted windows are probably a must. I don't think I could drive a car without them.
No, well, especially with how bright everyone's light nowadays.
Oh
like,
my goodness, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Saw a couple people saying they want to see the lights or the hazards in reverse when showcasing the rear side. We can definitely do that. Let's do that now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we just leave the camera here?
I'm locked in.
Oh my gosh, we have the child locks on. Hello?
You're gonna have to climb.
No, I just turned them off.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry, we're new here. Oh, this is very up close and personal. There we go. Do you want, I'll give you the camera mic and throw it in reverse. Okay, there's gonna be a lot of beeping because I still have the hood open, but that's okay. I'll start off with reverse. Let me know if I should hit Mike. And then I will turn on the hazards. And I'll have Mike walk around. Mike, do you want to show what they look like from the front too? Very nice. Very nice. Ryan answered the question about MSRP. So yeah, it's $75,780 Canadian, and that's $4,000 more than the entry trim level, so the LX. Should we do a quick speed run of everything you get in this trim versus the LX?
Well, I'm up for it. Let's
Okay, I'll do it if you want. Okay, so the EX versus LX, or LX versus EX, $4,000 difference. The biggest thing that's going to change is the powertrain. So you go from the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated with 181 horsepower to the 2.5 liter turbocharged with 281. So that's already a pretty big jump. You're still going to get all-wheel drive. You're still going to get the same size vehicle, but now you get 6 seats instead of 7. So the main difference is those are captain's chairs and not a bench seat. You're also going to get the leatherette interior. You're going to get the smart power liftgate. Your wheels are going to be 20-inch alloys as opposed to the 17s, and they're also going to look a lot better. Some of the exterior elements are going to be blacked out as well too, and you're going to get a little bit more styling around the car, so the car is just going to look a little bit more sleek in that sense. On the interior, your screen is going to remain the same size, so it's still going to be that 12.3-inch display with the same gauge cluster, but you're now going to get dual climate control, a wireless phone charger, a heated steering wheel, and a couple other nice touches and finishes. When it comes to safety, though, they're going to have the same amount of airbags, so it's 9. You're still going to get the smart cruise control, the forward collision avoidance, your lane keep assist, blind spot detection, that kind of thing. So a lot of the tech and safety will remain the same. A lot of it comes down to powertrain, which arguably could be a huge thing for you, or you may not care at all, but I definitely recommend driving them both back to back and seeing if it's worth it in difference for you. The pickup of this powertrain is fantastic. That's the biggest thing for me. That's what sells me.
That's the reason why I want one of these.
Yes, exactly. The Kia, it sounds so silly. And before I worked actually with a dealership, someone told me, yeah, you're going to love driving a Kia Sorento. I would say, what? My mom drives that. Why would I love that? No, guys, it's seriously a pleasure to drive. This is a fantastic vehicle. Highly recommend it. All right, let's answer some more questions, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, there's nowhere really to put this down right now, I don't think.
Yeah.
Also, this is an interesting video. We got locked in the back.
Yep.
I'm hoping that quick fire comparison made sense. Oh, it's a very flattering angle. Okay. I wish sales departments in the U.S. were as knowledgeable like you are, who can explain things about cars. Well, thank you. That's kind of the reason why we do these videos. I think, especially during, lockdown times when people couldn't exactly go to car dealerships and look at the vehicles and, have them explained to them. I feel like a lot of consumers have had to resort to online for researching vehicles because their salespeople aren't very knowledgeable or they couldn't go to see the cars. So it's nice that we can give out that information, even though it might not be completely relevant for where you are because we are in Canada. I'm glad it helps. I'm definitely glad it helps. Someone said the K4 is showing up on USA dealer lots. Mexican YouTubers posting driving impressions. Any Canadian K4 ETA and prices yet? So no prices yet, but we do have them on the way. We have 4 on the way. I believe we have EXs and LXs, so we're very excited to film those. We're excited for anything new, but the K4 especially, that's going to be a fun car. As Gabi says, hot rod, engine. What are you guys talking about? Oh, MG said, I think it's worth buying if you want the powerful engine. Yeah, it's, I don't know. I personally don't like it being in vehicles that I feel can't handle specific situations better, like a drag race. I'm joking. I don't know. I like knowing that I have the power to, pass someone on the highway, things like that.
Merge on the highway.
Yeah, merge onto the highway. So
it's actually very surprising the difference between the two. I can feel it, but if you actually try and step on it to merge to the highway compared to the LX, this one, yes, I don't know. Turbos always have, a place in my heart.
Yes, anything with the turbo. Speaking of, if you guys are into podcasts, me and Charlotte just recently did a podcast episode of superchargers versus turbochargers, kind of explaining the differences and why we see one more than the other. So if you want to check that out, I think it was a really fun podcast. We do have another very interesting one going up this weekend, so listen, stay tuned. We'll have everything linked in the description below if you do want to check out any of our additional stuff. Other than that, though, we'll probably end off today's video, so thank you so much for watching. I don't know why Michael's not in the video right now, but he is here. So thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in the next one. Don't forget to leave a like and comment if you would get the EX over the LX or any other trim level. Bye-bye.